Or they try to.
This is Batman.
This is Ethan Phillips from Star Trek Voyager.
This is Mark Pellegrino. I'm Jacob from Lost and Lucifer on Supernatural.
Hey, this is Katie Sackhoff.
I'm Michael Cerveris, the Observer from Fringe, and Jebediah Loven from Stakeland, and you're listening to Sci-Fi Talk.
Welcome to my Warehouse 13 Season 5 special. The series is down to just a few episodes as it completes its run on Sci-Fi. You might say that it's forever tied to Eureka as the two series that helped rebrand the network, and now they both will become part of history. This was recorded at the roundtables at San Diego Comic-Con this past summer, their last ones that they'll be doing as the cast of Warehouse 13. They all knew that this was their last season, and they only had 6 more episodes left. Starting us off is Saul Rubinek, who plays Artie.
Last time.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's very bittersweet.
Very sad.
Very bittersweet.
What's sweet about it?
Because there's another season. But then,
yes.
You know.
He looks back on a memorable role he had on Stargate SG-1.
It wasn't supposed to be a 2-episode show on Stargate. It was written as one, and I thought it was going to get cut back. But to hand it to those brilliant writers and showrunners, they really liked. Certainly for that episode, they stretched the box out. And after, I wasn't used to conventions, and I started going to conventions, and. After Comic-Con, especially Eddie and I went around to a whole bunch of different... He's gone to more than me. And that's where I run into a lot of fans, diehard fans. Not that all diehard fans go to conventions, but certainly they'd say, well, where is your photograph from Stargate? And I didn't have one. And they said, well, you should get one because that's a great character. And I began to realize that the character and what he was doing, which was first somebody who was, looked like they were going to trash the military and then ended up honoring them, especially it was also the death of a very well-loved character. But also the relationship, what I was interested in was the relationship between the press and the military and the free press in an open society, and how difficult that is and how important it is, and that was really exciting. And what was really great about going from there into a show like Warehouse 13 was that a much more comic show, obviously, because our showrunner comes from that world, but also it gave us an opportunity to talk about a full range of issues, whether it was sexual orientation or whether it was politics, censorship, free will. A lot of issues got dealt with through Warehouse 13. I've had a lot of experience doing sci-fi, and that's one of the great things about sci-fi. And that's one of the great things about doing science fiction, is you guys all know better than me.
Was there a social issue that you wish they could have addressed on Warehouse 13?
No. I mean, would I like to say that I wish we had another 3 or 4 seasons in us? We did. I think that it just, all good things must come to an end, but the show wasn't reaching a natural conclusion. It's what happens on 5 seasons is awesome. And who can complain about one of the great roles I've ever played? But no, we dealt with a lot of things. I knew we were going to deal with a lot more. But, we don't have, as actors, we don't have one life. I mean, it also is maybe time to move on, play other things. My daughter was just going into college. My son was just about to go into high school. She's graduated college. He's going into college. It's been a lifetime, 5 years. It's been a long time. And unusual for somebody who's as old as I am and has done as many things as I am. I've never been in a series for more than a year. Well, I was a recurring character on Frasier for a couple of years, but that was the longest I'd ever been in a series. So this is a whole new thing for me, and very fortunately, incredibly pleasurable. And I know that Jack and I are going to be working together. We've already got plans to do something, and I've got brothers and sisters in the cast, and Allison's like another daughter for me. So it's been a wonderful experience, and the thrill of coming here, it was a little overwhelming. I'm not a crowd kind of person, but the very first time we were here, we only had 3 episodes on the air. We were just introducing Claudia, and the reaction to the fans, even before we knew we were a big hit show, was overwhelming, and it's been a great ride, and you guys have helped spread that word, so we're grateful to you guys too. It's been a favorite among people for for good reason, and we have nothing but gratitude. It's very hard to feel too sad about something that was so successful.
Are you satisfied with the ending of the series?
The ending is, I have two words about it. It's surprising and inevitable. It is both at the same time. It's incredibly moving. I must have teared up about 5 times and laughed out loud as many times reading the final script, the final episode, which everything leads to, is an extraordinary achievement in writing. We haven't shot it yet, so I don't know how we're going to do. But knowing our group, I think we'll do it justice.
Have you had a chance to kind of step back a little and look at Artie's journey? I mean,
well, always, every season I do. I really did last season because it was a 20-episode season, and one of my oldest and best friends, Brent Spiner, and I were doing a two-hander for the first part of season 4, and that was a really great thing. And it was a very dark journey for Artie to come through, the death of a major and well-loved character, and it was it really was challenging, and they wanted to write something challenging for Artie, and I had to step back. In fact, there was one scene in that episode where I had to remember and I had to improvise the entire journey of that whole season before he really goes dark. It's been professionally not something I was really expecting. I've done a lot of movies. I've done a lot of guest stars on shows. I've directed 4 films. I'm writing. I've written a lot. I'm going back to directing and writing. And I wasn't expecting, at the age of whatever I was when that happened, 59 or something, that when I got this role, that I would end up with such a great role that would last so long. I wasn't expecting it. So it goes to show you that you never know. And maybe the next thing is going to be wonderful too. I'm a very optimistic, ridiculously optimistic person, and I have a great marriage, I have a great family. I'm really a blessed fellow.
What is it that you will miss the most on the series?
I'm going to miss most is what any actor will tell you on a show, is the family that we've created. It's the everyday laughs. I've done a lot of variety of work as Artie. It's fun to play Artie. It's not what I'm going to miss. I'm going to miss Artie, but maybe the fans might miss that character because so much of me is Artie. Any long-term show, the writers write you, or they're making a mistake, and they've written a lot of me in there. I'm going to miss that family. Not too much. I'm going to, be close to everybody. I'm going to see everybody and hope to work on other things with them. But it's that family. It happens in theater, in a way. And a lot of actors who do theater will tell you this. That what you find when you're a young actor and you're starting usually in theater, you're not making a dime. The stakes are just as high, even though there's several less zeros on the end of your paycheck. But what you miss, what you get, is that family. And then what you do as you get older, no matter who you are, I don't care if you're Johnny Depp or Brad Pitt, you look to recapitulate that family feeling in one way or another. Whether you're powerful enough to create it as a producer and get a group of people around you that create that. You cannot create good work what you do either. You cannot create good work in a vacuum. You have to have supporting, loving people around you, and then it grows exponentially, and what you thought was your best grows 2, 3, 4 times faster and better than you ever imagined. So by having a family of actors and great writers and a brilliant showrunner like Jack Kenny, everything that is good about you is brought up. Everything that is stupid and petty and small is turned away quickly because they know all your bad habits and they won't put up with them. That's true in a healthy family, isn't it? And any great show. I mean, yes, it's true. There are people who have horrible experiences and the movie's a big hit. It doesn't. But that's a movie. It lasts for that length. But there's no great series that there hasn't been some wonderful chemistry going on. Very rare. If that's true, then it's rare. Then it's an exception.
That's the magic word. And chemistry. You guys had it in spades.
We had it in spades. They did a great job casting us. They're very smart.
It shows on the screen. You can see it.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, we have a great time. We laugh all day long.
It's like we're all in on the joke. It's great.
Yeah, and we try not to make it too... We try to keep the stakes important. We try not to turn it into satire. But I'm grateful to you guys for spreading the word.
You never directed any episodes. Is there a chance we might see one episode you might direct in the final 6?
No, it was impossible. They asked me to. They wanted to do, especially this year, but I can't prep. Prep is at least 10 days of solid work of looking at locations, casting, and having production meetings, and already is too much in the shows for me to have been able to do it. I would have loved to. It would have been a lot of fun, but it wasn't possible on the show. So I've written other things.
What about that writing you mentioned?
I can't because, you jinx them, and I have to yet pitch them professionally and get them out there. I've written... Well, one thing I can tell you is that I may have told you before, I wrote a play called Terrible Advice, which was on in London in 2011. And I'm looking for... Now it's out to directors, and we're looking for a production of Terrible Advice here in the United States. I'm hoping that that'll be done. And I've written another play that I'm hoping to get done, and a couple of television things and a feature. I work all the time. I don't wait for the phone to ring. Can't wait for the phone to ring.
He talks about a memorable guest starring role.
I did an episode of Outer Limits that took me back in time to a concentration camp. My parents are Holocaust survivors, and it might have been trivialized it given it was a science fiction show. But it was with Jan Rubisch, who was an old friend of mine, the late Jan Rubisch. He's a great actor. He was in Witness. He played the grandfather in Witness. He was the Nazi that I was hunting. It was with Lindsay Krause was in it with me. It was a beautifully written episode. I love doing the Psych episode, which was a telenovela episode. It was really, really cool. The Stargate is one of my favorite ones. And I have to say that one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life was playing Donnie on Frasier for a couple of years with that amazingly talented group of actors and writers. It was a highlight of my career. I loved every second of doing it. It's a while ago now, but I sure loved it. Those are some of the most fun guest star roles that I'm probably leaving something out. I'm very old. I've done a lot of things, so. But I'm a fan of a lot of genres. I like good writing. So whether or not it's it doesn't matter to me whether it's a thriller or whether it's I guess literature, just great writing, just a great novel, sci-fi, if it's horror. I mean, I like it all if it's well done. So.
And what's his favorite television that he watches?
I think that I'm a real fan, like a lot of people are, a real fan of Dexter. I geek out on Dexter, Breaking Bad. Those are two of my favorite shows of all time. I like great comedy too. I mean, I loved watching Seinfeld back in the day. I even did 2 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love watching Larry David. And thanks, guys.
Thank you. What a great job you did, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was what a special show.
Thank you. It'll still be on forever.
I watch it on my tablet.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man.
There's more sci-fi talk, so stick with it. Here's more sci-fi talk with Tony Tolato. Eddie McClintock now joins us on our roundtables at San Diego Comic-Con.
How you doing, man? How's this all sitting in?
Good. I'm trying to...
Yeah.
It's kind of like the long walk a little bit, or the Green Mile.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the last Comic-Con, but I'll come back. I'll be back. 10-year reunion. Maybe we'll do a Warehouse 13 movie. I know people have talked about doing a Warehouse 13 movie. So, and plus, I'm going to come and sign in the signing room next year because that's one of the things Warehouse 13 has given us is an opportunity to go and meet the fans and make a few shekels and travel the world, and it's been pretty good. I got no complaints.
I'm sure this felt like leaving good friends.
I have spent more time with these people in the last 5 years than I've spent with any of my family members. Like my sister lives in Florida, my dad lives in Arizona, my mom lives in San Diego, and they have become my family. Not to be cliche, but it just you can't help it. You spend 15 hours a day, 5 days a week for 9 months with these people under these circumstances. You either figure out a way to love one another, or you will hate each other. It tends not to be a whole lot of middle ground. But it's one of those things where, Joanna and I, we bug each other a lot. I bug her more than she bugs me. But that's what happens, but at the end of the day, if anyone would mess with me or if I needed help, she would be there in an instant, as would any of these people, and I believe that. So,
What can you tell us about what's coming up for the last roundup?
Well, we have 6 episodes. We're kind of squeezing a lot into a short period of time. I have to learn about 80 pages of Spanish because in one episode, Pete and Micah and Artie get trapped in a telenovela, and Pete turns into a character called Armando.
I love it.
And I've got this. I'm having to make me this giant mustache, and I'm gonna have like a crushed velvet vest with the my chest hair sticking out, and it's going to be, very sexy, right? But it should be so much fun, and Jack's cutting the season premiere. He says it's so, great and fun, and I'm just relaxed this year. It's kind of like, it's there's no other reason to be anywhere, we're not worried about ratings, because when you're on the air, you're just like, okay, well, what do we get? What are our ratings? It doesn't matter. We know where we're going. And so I've just been having fun. More fun than usual, if you can imagine that.
Eddie talks about the series finale.
Well, I said to Jack when I found out that there was going to be 6 and out for us, and I said to Jack, I was like, so what happens? Do we all die? Are you going to kill us? Do we explode? Is the warehouse going to blow up? Does the world blow up? What's going to happen? He was like, we did all that. And he was like, it's going to be, I wish I could tell you guys, because it's like when he told me, I started like almost crying on the phone just from because it's so right on, and so tastefully done, and it gives all of us an opportunity to kind of say our goodbyes to the warehouse and to the fans and to each other, and just it's brilliant. The guys, Jack Kenny, our exec producer, is I just think he's brilliant. So
one of the things you did that was so special on the show was, you mentioned telenovela, the video game, the film noir.
All right.
It was just, you really stretched the boundaries of what you guys did, and you pulled it off every single time.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
I think that's kind of what's special about the show. I feel badly because I think there's still more stories to be told by the warehouse crew that can be fun, but I appreciate it, and that was what was always fun for me, is to show up and go, we do what in the net? Like, we're gonna do what? Whether we're saving the world, or we're in a noir, we're trapped in a noir novel, or Rico Colatone's there, or Kate Mulgrew is my mom. Jerry Ryan is my ex-wife. She 7 of 9. I grew up going, oh my God. Like, I just would turn on that show. I wouldn't even listen. I would turn the volume down just to wait. I was like, and then all of a sudden she's playing my wife. I was like, when I met her, I was like, you don't realize my street cred just went up like tenfold because of you. It's been great. It's just been great.
Was there one episode that you had the most amount of fun on?
I gotta tell you, the season opener here that we just did, as I said, I just was so loose to the point where, Jack's just like, Eddie, come on, man, I just was having a blast, and there's some really great funny moments in the season opener, and some great serious moments too, like, gosh, Joanna and I we just filmed this this great moment between Pete and Mike, and I think it's the best moment they've had together since the season began. And it's nice to be able to share that with Joanne. You know, it's like she's my buddy.
And what is he looking forward to seeing at San Diego Comic-Con?
I mean, I'm really excited to see Godzilla. I got after I saw Sharknado, no. I was actually a few weeks ahead of the curve. Like, I love great white sharks. I love old sci-fi movies. I love universal horror characters. Abbott and Costello, Meet Frankenstein, Marvel comic books, The Incredible Hulk. Just stuff like that. I've never thought. Like, it always bugs me when, like, you see some uber beautiful person that's got it together, and they're like, "Oh, I am such a geek. Oh, I am really geeky." It's like, shut up. Okay, but I mean, I guess I never thought of myself as that, but I guess now that I know the nomenclature of the conventions, I guess I qualify in some areas. Like, I've never worn a Pikachu costume, but I wouldn't say I'd never wear a Pikachu costume. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you, man. You guys
Hey,
rocked
it was really a pleasure. Thank you guys for all the years of support. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well deserved.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, honey.
Well deserved.
Aaron Ashmore is next, who was Jinx.
Good. How you doing? How's everything sitting with you with everything that's happened with the show?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's bittersweet that the show's ending, but we got a lot of episodes, like 5 seasons, 60. I think it's 64 episodes. I wasn't in all of them, but as a run for a show, that's really, really good. So I think it's difficult and bittersweet. Everybody's sad that it's ending, but we feel grateful that we got 6 episodes to finish it off, and I think that we're finishing really, really strong. So yeah, but it's tough. It's a little sad. Yeah.
How was the panel?
We haven't done it yet.
Oh, you haven't done it?
I think we do it at 5 or 6. Yeah, 5, I think. So very, very, I don't know what time it is. It's coming up on 5, so pretty soon. Yeah. 4. Man, we got an hour. I'll let you know.
Yeah, really. Wow.
He talks about playing sci-fi and genre roles.
I don't know if I would have thought that that's the way my career would go. I mean, as an actor, you sort of you go out for everything, and you never know what's going to work and what's going to stick. But I feel very, very fortunate. I feel like there's such a great, like this, the material you can do. It's fun, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just straight drama where it's like procedural or whatever. Like, I think that there's a lot of, like fantasy stuff that's involved in these shows that is great television. So to be able to be a part of that is amazing. I love working on Smallville. I loved working on Warehouse, Lost Girl. Like, I would love to continue to work in the sci-fi world. Hopefully I will. I have no idea, like as an actor, you've done a show and you're like, I'm never going to work again. But, inevitably something else comes up. But yeah, I think I've just been really lucky. And I haven't necessarily just pursued sci-fi stuff, but it's just sort of what's clicked for me and what's happened. So I don't know. I guess it's sort of meant to be.
What was your favorite thing about Jinx?
I like that he's a little kind of standoffish and cranky sometimes. Like that's sort of me in a way. Like just sort of like, I don't know, like whatever. I kind of like that about him. But I think that they created a really well-rounded character. And for a character to jump into a show that's already well-established and all the characters have really like fleshed out, you don't always get that, I find. So I don't know. I mean, I think that we've sort of built him up, and Jack was very open to me being me and then writing towards that a little bit. So yeah, there's just a lot like everything. It's probably one of my favorite characters. It just feels very comfortable, very natural for me as a character. And like if you can get to a place with a character, it's so much fun. You can just kind of, I don't know. It's just it's nice because you don't always like. Sometimes you're really working to be the character, or like it's really difficult to find that character. And for me, Jinx was really easy. They really wrote a character that adapted to me, so it was great.
And here he is on Jinx's death.
I cried. I was like, I love this show. Why are you guys killing me? You killed me on Smallville. You got something. You killed me on Warehouse. No, yeah, I mean, I was bummed for sure, but Jack at the end of the season said, don't worry, we'll bring you back, don't worry about it. And I was like, oh, okay, Like, how? No, hey, it's the warehouse. We got Artifact. But it's still, until it's a done deal, I didn't know if they're going to get picked up for a fourth season, all those sort of things. So when they did bring me back as a regular for the fourth season, I was ecstatic. It's, and it feels good to, be brought back to something that you really enjoy doing and that you're, want to pursue, continue doing. So yeah, I was bummed when they killed me, but I was so very, very happy when they brought me back.
What was it like when you did the Civil War stuff with the outfit?
Yeah,
that was
fun. Well, the reenactment was amazing. I mean, they had, I don't want to say thousands, it probably wasn't thousands, but they probably had a couple hundred people out there, cannon, guns, the whole deal. So I've never been to a war reenactment like that. So it was definitely fun. But I remember it was dark and cold when we started and rainy. Like, it rained a lot of the day. So it was one of those days where you're just like, oh my God. But I think it worked really well. Like, it looked good and it made it look like they really pulled it off. And sometimes that stuff, when it's so big and you've got to do it in a day and the weather's terrible, you're like, oh, how's this going to happen? But fun dressing up in costume and goofing on the Civil War sort of stuff. And I love that scene or that stuff too, because a Yankee guy comes by or no, I think it was a Yankee guy, but Claude puts the artifact in the bag and it like whatever, and then the guy says, "Oh, damn, Trekkie's always coming by and spoiling everybody's fun or whatever." And I was like, that was really, really funny. It was a good little bit. So.
He talks about what he geeks out on when he visits San Diego Comic-Con.
I read quite a bit. I read some comic books and stuff. The past year, I haven't been reading a ton, but a couple years before that, I was reading a ton. Kind of basically catching up. I read a bunch of stuff when I was in high school, teenager, a lot of superhero stuff. But I never really got into some of the Vertigo stuff, Sandman, and some of that. So I started reading all that stuff. So I really got into that. A game called StarCraft 2. It's like a video game I'm big into. I spent a lot of hours working away on there. I love my cats. I'm a real nerd about my cats, which is, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that. But I love them. Yeah. They're just, I love them. I don't do photo shoots or anything weird like posing them and stuff, but I love them. They're my little babies. Yeah, you're like, yeah.
I got a cat too.
Yeah. It's just, I never had a cat before, and I love them, so I don't know, it's weird. But what else? I mean, I go see all the big comic book movies and all the popcorn movies. I haven't seen Pacific Rim yet, but I really want to. They shot that in Toronto. And, giant robots versus giant monsters, the 6-year-old in me is just, going crazy. So I'm really looking forward to that. IMAX 3D, hopefully. But, yeah, that's it. Kind of normal stuff. I don't have any super weird, stuff that is like, oh, really? That's what you're into? That's what you nerd out on?
How does the end feel for Jinx? Does it feels like he's going to be in a good place?
Yeah.
I don't want to know how, but...
Yeah, I think I think that's the real beauty of our last episode, is that it's so well done and it puts closure to everybody. It's not just these characters, everybody just gets such a great ending, and they really wrap it up in a way that I think everybody's going to be happy with. Me reading it, I was like, that's the best episode that I've read of this show. So I think everybody's going to be happy. I mean, there may be one or two nitpickers out there, but I think 99% of people are going to be really happy. And and Jinxie is where he's supposed to be, and he's happy. Yeah.
And his favorite episodes? That might be...
Well, I really liked the first episode I did, the new guy. I got to work with Eddie, and I didn't know who Eddie was. Eddie was just this, guy, that I hadn't met, and I had such a blast with him that first episode. It was awesome. The Civil War one was great. I really like working with Allison, too. We always have a good time, and, I just think we have such a good dynamic. The characters work so well together. So pretty much any episode that I'm paired up with Allison, which is a lot of them, we have a blast. I'm trying to think what episodes this past, or the fourth season that... To be honest with you, the fourth season we started shooting almost 2 years ago. So thinking back to those episodes now, I'm like, what the hell happened? I remember what happened at the end because I've sort of reviewed that when we're going into the fifth season. But I'm like, what the hell? What happened in the beginning of the fourth season? I like the episode with Allison where we went to England and there was a bunch of horse gags and stuff like that. She kept bugging me about being scared of horses, Jinxie. That was a fun one. So pretty much everything. I mean, there's not really an episode that goes by that I'm like, oh, I didn't like that one. I didn't have fun doing that. It's all good.
What artifact made you the most afraid?
Well, the astrolabe didn't go so well for Artie, so I think that'd be my number one that I would like to avoid. I think there's some juggling balls that made Pete and Micah drunk and do some stupid stuff. So maybe that I can do that by myself with a bottle of booze. So I don't need. I don't want to run into those. That'll get me in trouble. Pretty much any of them, because there's always a downside, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, there's always like, oh, that'd be great, but there's always something that's gonna ruin your day or whatever. So pretty much staying away from them in general is a good idea.
He talks about a scene that he did with Eddie McClintock at the beginning of season 5.
Eddie and I shot a scene not too long ago that we kind of improv this thing, and I think it's really, really funny. So I think I want people to see that. It's just like a physical sort of thing, like a physical gag that I think was really, really funny. But I can't give away story stuff. I can't, like I said, my boss is around here somewhere, and he'll be giving me hell. So I can't give away anything about the 5th season. I'm sure there are some things I could give away, but I'm too scared to get in trouble.
What do you look forward to doing when the show is done?
Well, it's always exciting. You never know what's going to happen as far as the next job. It could be something huge that, you never expected. But it's scary to after 3 years of not having to hustle for a job and audition and stuff, it's scary to go back out there and have to hit the bricks. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm living up in Toronto. I'm hoping to be able to continue to work up there. They've got lots of stuff happening up there, lots of shows. So hopefully I can grab another show or something up in Toronto, but you never know. It's really sort of just a game of you have to wait till you get out there and see what opportunities come along. And there's always a few irons in the fire, but I don't know. We'll see. It's scary. As an actor, you're always like, I'm never going to work again, but inevitably you do.
How has the mood on the set been when you guys went back to work? You started in June, I know. So.
Really good, actually. I mean, I think that everybody was a little bit maybe... I was a little worried that maybe everybody would be a little bit bummed or whatever, but that hasn't been the case at all. I'd say that there's more energy starting this season than there was starting the 4th. So I don't know why or whatever, but I think everybody knows it's the last hurrah, so just trying to make the most of it.
We're getting the rap sound.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man. You did an awesome job on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Go out of style. I'm sure you will.
Finally, last but not least, is Alison Scagliotti, who is Claudia.
What do you want to talk about? Warehouse 13 Season 5 or what?
Yeah, yes, we do. How does, I hate asking this question, but I have to ask it. How does it all feel right now?
It feels satisfying. It feels really right. We've been so fortunate to have 5 healthy seasons that have been supported. That's more than a lot of shows can say, and we have the fans to thank for that. Obviously, we have our supportive Sci-Fi and UCP, and we have our amazing writers' room. And people keep asking, is it bittersweet? Is it sad? And I don't feel that way. I feel so satisfied with the final 6 episodes and how they honor, the mythology of the show and preserve the legacy of the show. And I can't stress enough that I think the fans are just going to love the final episode, because it doesn't feel like the show is ending. It feels like it just continues to live on, and I think we all cried when we read it. It's probably my favorite episode of the entire series. As hyperbolic as that is, it's great.
I thought when you came on the show, you were like, the show needed a juice, and Claudia gave it that juice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that must have been amazing. Walking in, and then did everything seem to click for you guys? After Claudia's presence.
I suppose it did. I mean, I'm hesitant to I don't know, take credit or anything but my favorite memory on set is my very first day. Coming in and meeting Saul and filming that great scene where Claudia kidnaps him with electrified handcuffs. I mean, it's I was nervous. I was 18 years old. I was coming onto a set that had already been, operating for a while and had found their groove, as much as they can in their first season while still figuring out what the show was. And so there was a bit of a learning curve, but Saul immediately just made me feel so welcome And if I had a question, I deferred to him because he's the master, and he didn't talk to me like I was the new kid. He talked to me like I was part of the family and his collaborator, and that respect and comfort has just developed even more and endured and made me really feel like the fourth leg of the table, and our table now has 5 legs. With it's a 5-legged table with Aaron. It's I don't know what more I can say. It feels good.
Yeah.
What was her favorite thing about Claudia?
My favorite thing about playing Claudia is her humor. And we all get to do that to some extent. That we walk this tightrope of drama and action and humor and family emotion. I love that I get to be the sort of alternative, edgy girl. It was fun. Certainly during this. These years when a lot of young actors have a hard time transitioning from teenage, playing the daughter or the high school student or something into adulthood and playing the agent or the cop or whatever. And I've been able to bridge that gap, I think. Hopefully Hollywood has the same attitude, because I certainly feel that way. Bridge those years with a really cool character that I've been fortunate enough to hear from young women means a lot to them, because she's not fake, and she doesn't apologize for being intelligent, and just has her own style that she doesn't apologize for. I'm gonna miss Claudia.
What was it like on stage when you were doing like the episode where you were on stage and performing and all that? That must have been a
the open mic. Yeah. Performing the open mic as Claudia. I just brought all the times that I have personally performed at open mics and just put all the nerves and the thrill of doing it into that, and I don't think that you can tell the difference between Claudia's open mic and my personal open mics.
What do you geek out on?
I was just telling them I geek out over a lot of things. Music, number one. Music is my sweet nectar. But I have a really geeky story about when I got to meet Kimmy Robertson from Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is my favorite show in the world. And Twin Peaks fans will remember the Mina Bird Waldo. And when I met her, I was wearing a gold bird skull necklace, and she noticed it and walked up to me and plucked it off of my chest and said, "Oh, Waldo!" And the look on my face is like I'm having an aneurysm. I can't handle how. I can't even speak now. Obviously, I'm geeking out so hard of meeting Kimmy Robertson from Twin Peaks. Anyway, I used to actually have a fantasy that if we ever met Claudia's parents, they would be played by Kyle MacLachlan and Sherilyn Fenn. That's what I really wanted.
Here she talks about being recognized.
Yeah, it's bizarre because, I don't think of myself as anything more than what I am, which is just a working actress, and I've been that way since I was 11 years old. And but it's very gratifying and very flattering, to be in the subway in New York and have the subway driver say, "Hey, Warehouse 13." It's comforting and very, very gratifying because we're so removed from the process when we're on set. We don't. And that's what makes Comic-Con so great, is coming face to face with the people that we make the show for. So it's cool. And then eerie that I have an action figure that people are buying, which I love. Of course I have one. My mom has one. My mom loves hers. Mine is in a box in storage. My mom's is prominently displayed. I think my dad does too. Yeah, he does. It is really just a statuette. So I wish it had, how do you say that? Animated joints. But it doesn't. Maybe the next iteration, the next generation of Claudia toy will be an actual bendable thing. No Barbies though.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for Claudia. You did an awesome job.
Oh, please, no. It's been a pleasure and an honor for
it's been
all
fun
these
to
years.
watch.
Thank
Fun
you.
to watch.
To me, there is a place for a series like Warehouse 13 with its mix of humor and drama. It established its own rhythm. It has the magic formula of the right combination of cast and producers that made the series work, and why I will always keep coming back to see what artifact the gang uncovers again and again and never get bored. Special thanks to the Sci-Fi Channel. This is Tony Tolato.
Hi, everyone. This is Taya Gill here, and I was Jane Cleaver in Masters of Horror's Homecoming. I've been in Andromeda, and of course I have played Lindsay on Queer as Folk. And here I am, and you are listening to Sci-Fi Talk.